Hello, welcome back to New Rockstars Debrief. I'm Erik Voss, and joining me today are Sam Bashor.
Oh, hello.
Maude Garrett.
That's me.
And Filup Molina.
I forgot what I sound like.
You forgot what you look like.
Yeah, I'm back.
Who's back? The Fab Four is back. This is exciting. Today we're talking about the Avengers Endgame movie and the new Avenge the Fallen cast photos and what they tell us about the cast of this movie. And a clue spotted in an Endgame featurette that came out. Also, the Game of Thrones finale and how it will diverge from George R. Martin's books. We're also talking about Zack Snyder's defense of Batman's right to kill. And
Stand your
we
ground
look
law.
ahead. We look ahead at the Eternals, which will be a part of MCU Phase 4. We got some news about that this week. Also some other news.
Cool. Yeah, if you listen to this right now as a podcast, you might notice today we got brand new cover art. Real fancy little design there. I did it, so I will appreciate the compliment that you sent to me on Twitter. That change is actually to coordinate with our even bigger announcement today. Westeros Weekly is coming back starting Monday. This time it's also going to be a podcast. Yay, sound. Devin with the surprise sound effects scaring the hell out of me. You can subscribe right now on Apple Podcasts or the Himalaya app, where you can actually submit questions to us so that we can answer them on the show, or subscribe anywhere you listen to podcasts. We're actually going to get into more detail about our Game of Thrones podcast coverage. Something really exciting about it. We'll do it later when we talk about Game of Thrones.
Yeah, let's get started with our lead story.
Oh, yeah, what'd you hear?
We are 1 month out from Avengers Endgame, and Marvel has released 32 posters. Each one features a different Avengers character. Now, half the posters are in full color, and they show survivors of Thanos' snap, the living, the people who are still alive at the end of Infinity War. But the other half are in black and white, and they show the dead and or dusted. Each poster has the phrase, Avenge the Fallen, written over the character's face. Now, these posters confirm some big news for us. First, that Wong and Valkyrie are among the survivors of the snap, and they're going to be part of this story. We figured they were because we didn't see them die. But another character we didn't see die, who is among the black and white ones, is Shuri, sister to Black Panther, T'Challa. She's in black and white, meaning she must have dusted or died somewhere off screen.
Boo!
And in the Chinese version of the new Endgame poster, you can actually see her standing among the fallen characters, so that's double confirmation. Now, I made a whole other video about Shuri, so go check that out if you haven't already. Different ways that she could have died. Did we actually see her death in Infinity War, but it didn't look like her death at the time? Or are there other reasons why they may be saving that footage? Is it something that we're going to see in Endgame? But here's the larger question to be answered, and that's who is in this movie? Who exactly is the cast of this movie?
IMDb.com.
Yes. Well, here's the deal. Everyone will obviously show up in this movie in some way, right? Whether they get resurrected, maybe we flash back to them when they were still alive. But the question of who is alive and who will be actively participating in the plot for the bulk of this movie, who's going to be driving the story? Now, obviously, all the OG Avengers, the original 6, are there. Plus, you got Okoye joining them, and Rocket. Captain Marvel's joining the mix. Apparently, Valkyrie. M'Baku's still alive. Wong is still alive. Happy Hogan, Pepper Potts. Not Shuri, though. Shuri's dead.
I'm pretty sure that's a mod joke.
She's like, dang it. But who else? Now, a lot of you guys have been sending me screenshots of IMDb, Filup mentioned a second ago. And you send these, you'll email them or tweet them at me. News about Ty Simpkins. That was the kid from Iron Man 3. He's in Jurassic World as well. But he played Harley, the boy who bonds with Tony Stark in that movie. Also, Catherine Langford has been rumored to be part of this story. And someone went on IMDb, I guess one of the actors or extras on the movie, credited themselves on IMDb as 70s scientist. Now, a lot of you guys have been tweeting that out, saying, "Oh, is that proof of time travel? Does this mean the Avengers are going to go back to the 1970s? Maybe meet with Howard Stark, who was active during that time? Does this mean that Tony could have a flashback using his barf technology to when he was a boy with his father, like he did in Civil War?" Or is it just wrong? Because here's something that you guys all just need to keep in mind. IMDb for a movie that has not come out yet is not confirmed. It is, as of right now, still inaccurate in a lot of ways. It's crowdsourced, right?
It's Wikipedia,
It's Wikipedia. People can, it's even less edited and less monitored than Wikipedia is, which if you try to change something on a Wikipedia page, like when Filup changed the page of Moonface to have my face on it, they get on that right away. You can't refresh.
No, that thing lasted like a year.
They were that good at their smart folds. They were like, oh yeah, that seems legit. Anybody can change that stuff. And the reason why they don't edit it is the editors at IMDb don't know any more more than people who are part of the movie or actors who are on the set for a day who is in that movie and what character they were playing. So they don't change it yet. So that's why you can go on IMDb and see Ty Simpkins and that stuff. Actors will just put that in there themselves. And IMDb was the one who broke the news that Ty Simpkins was going to be in it. So it's not confirmed, but it's not confirmed either. It's just we don't know. Anyway, even with these possible additions, the question I'm curious to know from you guys, there's about half as many characters in Avengers Endgame as there were in Avengers Infinity War, courtesy of Thanos. Thanks, bud. Now, do we think that this will make this a better movie, having a smaller, more condensed cast? Was Thanos onto something, at least when it comes to screenwriting and story structure?
You look like a moon.
Yeah. I am dying right now to go and check. I need to go and look at the Wikipedia
It's not
page
there anymore.
right now. I have to know, though.
Sorry, I'm
For
sorry.
our audio listeners, Eric's
Don't
face
describe
is
my face. Do not describe my face.
Audio listeners, please, you have your phone out.
my
Go and check this
God.
really
Moonface.
quick.
He's not currently the representative of Moonface.
I'm just thinking Majora's Mask, and you're just like zooming down onto the.
Guys, this is bullying, but I feel
This
good
is
at least we're
cyber
doing
proof.
it in person and not cyber.
It's punching up. Our listeners at home have been using their imagination to picture this handsome devil.
Yeah, that's
And you're
smooth, round
painting a horrible
voice.
picture. In
We
the
shattered
All
that
right,
illusion.
so the question is,
Sorry.
did Thanos do a good job for the movie by making less people be
Do
in
we
the
think
movie?
Endgame will be better off, especially since the Russos have said they're more of an ensemble group, and having so many people in the first movie forced them to make it Thanos' story and scatter the rest of the characters?
And keep in mind, I mean, they actually did the smartest thing that I could have ever imagined. And honestly, Civil War could have benefited from this. They made Thanos the protagonist of Infinity War so that they could focus on him. And if you think about any, either not just feature film, but any epic story, from even Greek mythology, you follow one person, their hero, they have their goal, and they go through change, and they meet people along the way. Well, Thanos, he has his goal. He deals with people along the way, but he's the one that has a fully realized arc. They nailed it with that, so they can do it with more people. Now it's the fact that, okay, so Thanos is going to go on the side. Let's make a whole group the star again. And yeah, they do got to pare down.
Yeah.
As maybe a comparison to the other Russo movies that they've made, the Russo brother movies, like with Captain America Winter Soldier, that's Cap's story. You get to learn about Winter Soldier, and you get to learn what his place is in a modern society and how things have changed and how his perspective on politics and himself and how he fits into everything. It changes, but in the second movie, you're able to see that like they could take like Iron Man, somebody who's had 19,000 movies that he's been the star of, and now you can kind of turn him and allow him to be an antagonist. So in a way, with Infinity War and Endgame, you now set up Thanos, you give him a full movie, and you allowed him to kind of take a back seat when it comes to the sequel of Endgame, and allow the heroes to kind of take more of a center stage and just go up against him, because you know what Thanos' whole deal is now. You don't have to
Yeah.
establish him, is what I'm trying to say,
I
like they
agree
did
with
in
you.
Winter Soldier.
Yeah, you have to establish Thanos because he is the new player here, and we've had so many other movies. We understand who these characters are, and now they get to have their hero moment. I totally agree with you. At the same time, I think there's a reason why this movie is over 3 hours long now, because there's a lot of goodbyes or doing justice to these characters. Obviously, some of these heroes need a little bit more screen time, but it has to be kind of like evenly delivered throughout them all, and there's a lot there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I also think that even for 3 hours, I think they still won't go very much into anybody who's gone. Like even let's say midpoint, everybody comes back or something. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to focus on the people that are left behind, because that's the more interesting story, right? That's the Left Behind series. That's the leftovers. That's what do you do in that world that's devastated versus like, hey, where you guys been? Like we don't really need to catch up on nothing.
Right, I agree. 3 hours, do we think that's too much story there?
Never enough, never,
And I
never.
think they've earned it after 22 hours. No, excuse me, triple that. Like that they've earned it.
Oh, yeah.
But it's also.
Have you been walking out in the middle of each Marvel movie? Like,
I have places to be. No, they earn it, but man, boy howdy, they're trying us. They better wind the next movie. Spider-Man Far From Home is 1 hour. There you go. It's about 15 minutes. You can go ahead and get it from there.
I want it on 2 VHS tapes.
Titanic or Pearl Harbor style.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The as long as they fill all that time. I mean, Lord of the Rings was a huge ensemble movie. Each of those chapters were, and I feel like they felt it. They felt it and they filled it, and I was satisfied.
They filmed it.
All 80 of those endings for Return of the King.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's the better example. In my head, I did in high school. I did choir, and at the senior show, you do a big goodbye goodbye, so everyone comes out and does their like heartfelt like, this is why I love this program, and you're like, oh my god, this show should have been an hour and a half. It is now 10 p.m. on a school night, and I want to go home. Like I just don't need Hank Pym to get a real heartfelt like, hey, good to have you back, dude.
Now I want to ask you guys, do you think there's any significance to the direction that the actors are facing in the pictures? Now, if you're listening to this on podcast, go check out online the different directions of each of these posters. Most of them, of the living characters we're talking about, are facing the same way, but some of them are looking in the opposite direction. All the black and white ones are looking in the same direction. The living ones, we have Ant-Man, Bruce Banner, Okoye, and Captain Marvel, are all looking to the right.
I mean, it's obvious, right? So if the left is like our normal people, the right, you're a scroll.
Because they don't know them rules. They don't know where to look.
Or they assigned each poster to a different photo editor and they didn't horizontally flip it.
Unlikely.
That's unlikely. That'll be a fun clue for our Scroll Search series.
You can really see how nice and slender and non-moon-like all these faces are. You just look up these Moonface.
Horribly thin faces.
These mutants.
These freaks.
Yeah. Someone on Reddit, I believe, made all these into like a flip book photo. Sam, you were telling me about how like
shout out to Panda_hat.
Yeah, maybe we can put a link to that or something in the show notes.
Yeah, it looks really cool. And then the middle one is Gamora looking right down the barrel of the lens of the camera. So is there a reason why she's looking into our hearts?
Yeah, why Gamora?
No, but they're looking towards something. The imminent threat.
Yeah, I do kind of think that, right? It's like it's a complete full vision, like the full field of vision. Yeah, the field of vision and a vision.
Is that like a baseball field where visions come back to play with the family to save the farm?
I'm sorry, I'm too young to get that reference.
Has Vision been in any of these posters? Am I blind?
Yeah, he's up there.
Oh, goodness. I have just missed that the whole time.
If he doesn't have ears, it's probably why you didn't see him.
Because being red is the most recognizable thing about him.
But Maude, you have another question for us.
Oh, yes.
It's a trivia question.
Oh.
Let's do it. Now, remember, it's not who's right. It's who's the least wrong. That's important with this one.
Very true.
Are you ready for the
in life
trivia question?
About being the least wrong.
Please distribute the cards accordingly with your Sharpie. We got one here. Early in the...
Uh-oh.
That's
I'm going to call that a late sound cue, Devin.
pretty ominous. Goodness me. Early in their career, this MCU star played a minor role in the popular crime drama series Chips.
Okay, all of our answers are in the bucket behind us. I wasn't on screen when I pointed forward. But,
you pointed at nothing.
We'll reveal the answer at the end of the episode. And leave your answers in the comments below. Don't research it. Just
they're pretty
stay on
good
this video.
about
Don't
it.
click away.
Surprisingly, they all get it right, but they're pretty good about it.
A bunch of Boy Scouts. Yeah. But first, we want to take a minute to talk about one of our sponsors of this episode, BetterHelp. Is there something that interferes with your happiness or is preventing you from achieving your goals? If so, BetterHelp Online Counseling is there for you. BetterHelp offers licensed professional counselors who are specialized in issues such as depression, stress, anxiety, relationships, family conflicts, LGBT matters, grief, self-esteem, and more. And anything that you might have heard about BetterHelp, just know that they've done a really good job, like listening to feedback and making necessary changes. So you can connect with your professional counselor in safe and private online environments. Anything that you share is, of course, confidential, and it's very, very convenient. You can get help at your own time and at your own pace. You can schedule secure video or phone sessions, plus chat and text with your therapist. And if you're not happy with your counselor, you can request a new one at any time at no additional charge. But best of all, it's truly affordable, and Debrief listeners get 10% off your first month with discount code Rockstars. And something to keep in mind, this is not a crisis line. This is proactive mental health. So if you are in a moment of crisis, there are other resources to go through for that, but this is a good way to get a step ahead of ever getting to that point. So why not get started today? Just go to betterhelp.com/rockstars. Simply fill out a questionnaire and get matched with a counselor that you'll love. betterhelp.com/rockstars.
Yay, therapy.
Yeah, therapy. Now, Sam, there's some other news that came out this week. What did you hear?
Yes, this week we found out that Angelina Jolie, the queen herself, is in talks to star in an upcoming MCU Eternals movie. We've heard about this one for a little bit. It's going to be written by Matthew and Ryan Firpo, who wrote a popular Blacklist script called Ruin, and directed by Chloe Zhao, who comes from the indie film world. The Eternals look like people, look like humans, and they are very powerful and basically live forever. This is one of the most convoluted characters I've ever read about in Marvel Comics, but they're coming to the big screen.
They're called Eternals.
Yes.
They live forever?
Oh, yes. And their stories are limited, though. They were created by a cosmic being called the Celestials, Star-Lord's dad, Ego, the living planet, that was established. We found out he was a Celestial in the MCU in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Now, the Eternals are mostly good guys for the most part, and the Celestials also created the Deviants, who are... They're ugly guys. They're mostly bad guys too. And
Get
Thanos,
out. Deviants?
I know, right?
Their art is so great.
Yeah.
Thanos is an Eternal, fun fact, but he has a few deviant genes in him. So he's a mix of both. That's where he gets his more
That's why he's so
violent
powerful, 'cause he has
tendencies.
both sides, right?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So basically, in the comics, the Celestials came to Earth and they created modern day humans as well as deviants, and that actually sometimes led to mutants, depending on what you're reading. And Eternals are the perfect man, and that led to many controversies in the comics, but you can go and do that research for yourself if you'd like to.
Yeah, the perfect man, it's a complicated thing to state, but I will say they are on this panel right now.
Well, we don't know much about the plot of this movie, but rumors are saying that it will be a love story, or at least involve a love story between two Eternals named Icarus and Cersei. Ooh. Now, how do we think these characters will fit in with the Avengers? They're so much more powerful, especially that someone like Black Widow and Rhodey being on the Avengers team, seeing characters like this that are literally perfect, they might not be able to stack up. So if we have Eternals, do we even need the Avengers? The answer is yes. Here's a quick one, but I do want to hear your points of view. It's just these characters aren't that well known. The Icarus is, I can see the inspiration when it comes from Greek mythology, but overall they are not that well known. I hope that they lead into, because in the comics sometimes they lived on Earth, and I kind of hope that it's just like, no, the Celestials just made them on Titan, and Titan is a different planet, and they live there. But now there are some maybe survivors out there, and they're gonna come to Earth, and that's how our characters.
But maybe you're asking like in terms of like scale, like if you have characters that are essentially gods, which we've seen in like the DCEU and the DC comics, a lot of these characters are essentially gods. We have the new gods in the DC comics, which Jack Kirby created before going to Marvel to create basically the equivalent in the Marvel world.
Yes.
But
American Gods.
American Gods, and didn't Neil Gaiman, you said,
he did write a volume of Eternals, yeah.
So if you have like these characters who are like perfect godly beings, is it less interesting to see a character who can has omnipotence as opposed to characters who are a bit more grounded, like Black Widow and Rhodey and
impotence?
Say it.
Hawkeye, yeah.
None of this makes sense.
I mean, for that part of the question you just asked, they need each other, right? Like you can't have power without weakness, right? You can't have light without dark. You need to see that pairing. In fact, I think that pairing is very interesting to see together, right? The storylines of a single person. I mean, just have the image of, for some reason, the end of Eternals 3, and you see all the Eternals lined up. And for some reason, they are unable to achieve something, and little Rhodey just dragging his little body across the field.
He's got biomechanical structures.
No, not in Eternals 3. They got chewed off by the children, and so like he's the one that can like actually achieve it and save the day at the end. That matters so much more, because something that a man can do that a god can't is actually more impressive than a god doing it.
Sure.
I feel like we've sort of seen something like this before. I mean, the concept really is having gods that don't understand Earth or like the ins and outs or the daily occurrences of Earth, trying to adapt and learn for the first time. But that was Thor, the first movie.
That's Thor,
so
Aquaman in a way, Wonder Woman as well.
It makes sense why you want to ask this question, because if the Eternals show up, it's like maybe the Avengers could finally take a vacation. It's not just Hawkeye going to the beach with his kids, but like but at the same time, like, you bring up the best point, where it's like in Avengers 2 they do a really good, I think they do an okay job showing why Hawkeye is important on the team, where it's like you do need that kind of like person who's willing to put everything on the line. You need a dad.
It takes a dad.
Because it's also like maybe Thor, if he got his stuff together, he could be like the ultimate Avenger and just kind of save the Earth by himself.
Any fool can be a Hawkeye. A real man, your daddy.
There you
Did
go.
you say hot guy?
If you work hard enough, anybody can. I am interested to see how they expand the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because with Captain Marvel, they introduced us more to the Kree, and they showed some more cosmic side. This could be a more like godlike and maybe magical. There's a couple different elements that you can dive into, and also the scale of this will be a lot bigger. So it would be interesting.
I do have a question though. If we do take it out from Earth and we go into, say, the Titans, and we go out into the celestial void. Do you become less interested in that?
I do.
Yeah.
Like when Vision came into the scene, I remember thinking, like, he's too much of a god. He's not captivating or interesting. And I'm sorry, Vision heads. I've never been interested in the MCU version of Vision as much as I love Paul Bettany. I think I felt this way in the third act of Captain Marvel, too, when characters are too powered up. The only way I think introducing cosmic things is interesting to see in a movie for me is if they have, like, a sense of humor about it, the way they did in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
With the
and
Skrulls.
Ragnarok.
Maude brought up earlier American Gods, which is such an interesting idea
Because
of
they're
gods
being depleted of their immortality.
but also just being forced to interact on such a mortal level, like that becomes much more interesting.
Well, yeah, because they were losing power because no one was worshipping gods anymore because everyone was becoming non-believers, and so unless you were worshipping them, they lost power. I think that was cool.
Or unless you were a new god like technology, I think. Whatnot.
Oh yeah, that's it. New gods.
You're threatened. Also, there's an idea of like maybe there's a new generation of Eternals, like unlike the American gods, new gods, but these are like we need this person to be able to keep the Eternal line going because right now they seem pretty decimated in the MCU because Thanos maybe killed them. He also said that they may have gone extinct, but I think maybe Thanos gave him a little nudge that direction. So hey, it's going to be interesting. But we got some more news for you, Philip.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You guys want to know?
Yeah, you were telling us about this featurette that came out.
Yeah. I was watching it
tell us.
earlier when you guys walked in.
We're waiting.
It doesn't add a lot
What
of
is
new
it?
footage, but actually we watched a lot, and we did discover something in there. So this is an interesting Avengers tidbit. Marvel released this featurette called "We Lost," which I like that they're just admitting that finally. It features Kevin Feige and some of the stars of Endgame just reflecting on the big loss that the characters experienced at the end of Infinity War. It doesn't show new footage, but we did notice that when Robert Downey Jr. is speaking, he seems to be sitting on the set of Shuri's lab in Wakanda. Now, it's possible that this was shot a very long time ago, like during Infinity War, and that's not as big a deal. Yeah. But it's also very possible that he's shooting Endgame and he happens to be at the lab in Wakanda, which is very interesting because why? Why would it be at Shuri's lab? Okay, so if you remember, Erik did a video actually a while back that's Vision still alive? Question mark?
Vision still alive? Confirmed?
Right.
Question mark?
Confirmed theories. All right. We also threw out some theories just in general about Shuri's work with Vision during Infinity War. We don't really see exactly what she does during it, but she's this brilliant techno scientist. She could have maybe uploaded his consciousness somewhere and potentially saved him that way, because you can download Vision for sure. But also
it just saves as Jarvis.
Yeah, basically, I mean that is kind of, and you strike it with lightning or something. There also is the concept of maybe she put like a tracker or some sort of a way to track the Mind Stone. Which Thanos now has, so that'd be a way to potentially find Thanos. And then obviously we found out earlier that she passed away. R.I.P. Love you, baby. But if that happened, then she wasn't able to tell anyone that she did that. Kind of reminds me of Miss Calendar and Buffy. She knows the secret to getting Angel's soul back, and then he kills her. So what do you guys think? Why might Iron Man be there? Do you think it's for one of the reasons I said, or am I overthinking it?
Is he in costume there, or is that just what he dresses like these days?
He did wear those glasses in the movie, I feel like, or a version of those glasses.
He's wearing makeup.
He's got it.
I mean, this is all real life. This is all real.
Robert Downey Jr. has just become Tony Stark.
For sure.
I like the idea of it being Vision because Vision's great, and I didn't know it. Philip, I think he had a sort of small stroke in the middle of that statement when he said Vision was an interesting character. I'll just put that out there.
Yeah,
sorry,
failure of an adaptation.
Sorry, Erik, I'm just mad now. He's a great character, but I do like the idea of him being like an AI within the system that could be used, going back to his Jarvis days, and kind of helping the team either build like their new Avengers armor. Maybe they know something. Maybe he'll help them navigate through the time vortexes to go back in time and bring them back. Being like, if you guys are familiar with sliders, bringing them back to the current universe. There's a lot of different ways you can go about it. But again, Vision, great character. Putting that out there. Glad we all agree.
Yeah,
putting it out there.
We don't all agree. We don't. It's hard when it comes to like, can they reboot Vision? Is that possible? Because Vision, one of the ingredients for him is the Mind Stone. If the Mind Stone's gone or destroyed, where is Vision's soul? Is it inside the computer, or is it inside the Mind Stone? Where's the human soul? Is it in the chest or the head? Or
does Vision have a soul?
Plane? Do any of us have souls?
Or is he like a person from Alaska?
I lost mine. If you find my soul, please, I need it. I can't
on the bottom of your shoe.
I think, if anything, one of the theories I had in that video you talked about is that Vision could still be in the Mind Stone, because that seemed to be like the most important piece to his identity. It contains an AI.
Yeah, I mean, we're complicating it, but essentially, is that his brain? Because if so, like our consciousness isn't our brain, right?
But his brain is just data, isn't it?
I think that was the.
We just
data?
I'm Dada. I want to be a Dada. Well, they were trying to extract it safely, so there must have been a way that Vision could still be Vision without the Mind Stone stuck up there.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's just you and I now.
The rest of the people in the room.
The camera just falls.
Yeah, I do like this idea of she. You know, when she was swiping away different neural connections to the Mind Stone on her hollow projection, maybe.
When you nerd out.
Not all these soundboard editions are
they're
nice.
great.
I like the soundboard making references to things that you definitely only get if you saw them.
Right. I like the soundboard having a soul. The soundboard has soul.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it just takes just a second to get going. You gotta warm up.
I think it might be interesting if they find some kind of like hidden message somewhere in her computer, and that leads them to the next step, whether it's figuring out how the Infinity Stones work, how to build quantum armor, or how to bring down Thanos, or where the stones are. Yeah,
maybe
Iron Man is in Shuri's lab because he's realized, oh my God, you had all of this intelligence and I wasn't privy to it.
Right.
I'm gonna supercharge myself.
big.
That's it.
Just jacks all her stuff.
Again, I really want a Gundam-sized Iron Man suit just one time in this movie right before
I'm not
he dies.
against it.
Right, but made out of vibranium, so it's just like, ooh,
Oh my God.
it sounds awesome.
Yeah.
That does sound awesome. Maude was telling me about Game of Thrones stuff, and I wanted to tell you guys about it.
It's not a coincidence that I'm wearing this dress because I am Murder of Dragons. George R.R. Martin's actually commented on Game of Thrones recently, noting that the end of his book series is going to be completely different to this finale. They have they've gone different roads.
Okay.
One's taken the King's Road, the other one hasn't taken the road yet because he hasn't written about it. So this week we're going to do something a little bit different and speculate about the books. Now consider this your spoiler warning for the book series. If you haven't read them, you're not going to read them, don't want to know about it, zip. So assuming George R.R. Martin finishes the last two books, there's an alternate universe version of Westeros. A universe, so if you don't know the books, Catelyn Stark is resurrected as Lady Stoneheart, like what Sir Beric Dondarrion has done. So she doesn't actually die, even though she's dead. And then, Ollie, he's not even in the books. That never happened. There was a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, there's like
Aegon
other.
Targaryen. Yeah, another potential like a Targaryen that could have the right to the throne.
There's a
all
plot
kinds
to
of stuff.
try to take back the Iron Throne by marrying Elia Martell's son to Daenerys.
Yeah.
That is in the works. We don't know if Jon Snow comes back because that's a cliffhanger.
Or he
Yeah.
dresses a woman and he goes to high school again. Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff there.
Well, it wasn't Sansa at Winterfell that was married to
That's
Bolton.
right,
exactly.
A bunch of
Yeah.
stuff. Actually, while we were talking about Jon Snow, because, I feel like they kind of combined characters
couple
and
characters, yeah.
Yes, they
amalgamate
did.
and put them together. Jon Snow is interesting here to bring him up and back again because when the books stopped, that's when Jon Snow was resurrected. So anything after that, that's all new terrain. Well, actually, before he got resurrected, so I don't even know if he does come back.
Right, it just
Yeah,
kinda
that's a TV show
blacks out.
thing that they made. So there's a lot of speculations to be happening with the books. What do you personally think that George R.R. Martin would cook up? What do you think his brain would do that would differ from the series?
I gotta wonder, just knowing like how long he's taken to do this, doesn't it feel like maybe what he's gonna cook up is whatever they don't do on the show, and whatever the audience is kind of like, I wish they had ended it like this, and he's like, funny you should say that.
That
Give
was
me
my
2 years.
idea. Yeah, my gut is saying that it's not going to be so focused on the White Walkers in the books. Because currently they're known as the Others. There's far more mystery around the Others in the books than there's no Night. There's the Night's King, which is a completely different character in the books. But the Night King, as we saw him at Hardhome, and as we learned about his origin in season 6, and as he's targeted Jon at the Frozen Ice Lake in season 7, that all of that is an invention of the show. Now, George R. R. Martin has been a consultant and a producer on the show, but he's not like sitting there writing scripts. I don't think he's breaking season stories. I mean, Benioff and Weiss are checking in with him. But this is really their story from here on out. And I have a feeling the books are going to be centered more about the world that George R. R. Martin created, which is more like a fictionalized version of the dark medieval history and basing things off of how awful people really can be in their pursuit of power.
I
Ponce.
retched reading one particular scene when Theon was north of the wall. There was like maggots in a body. Anyway, it was hard to read. The neck was moved. Anyway, the biggest difference between the show and the books is obviously the books have like 90 times more characters, and the TV show has to sort of streamline it, hence combining two characters and shaving off big chunks of side story. So I think he's going to kind of look at a much bigger picture and use all of the characters in said Game of Thrones. So it's a tricky one. You're right. It's not as focused. It's more about like the Cersei Dany story in the books. I mean, you should have told the story before. Now my focus is the show.
Right.
Yeah.
And
everyone
it's like,
says.
But usually I love reading a book before I see anything because I want to read it and build my own mind around it, and I don't get to do that anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
It's an interesting point you guys made, about just like there being just less characters on the show. I mean, obviously that's kind of what we were talking about with the Avengers earlier, where like that's by design. It's harder to tell a story in that short time. But I also do wonder if that means that, we've kind of been tidying up the battles of like who's gonna win the Iron Throne, and it's been like, well, it's only like 3 people left that it could maybe be, and I wonder if in the books it's actually gonna be like that's gonna be like the equivalent of a world war, like just all these different sigils colliding, basically. Like that's interesting to me that he has room for so much more politics.
Yeah.
And I am definitely going to be interested to see where he goes with this. I kind of think like in a show that also has a very big following, like Lost, like a lot of people were upset with the last season where they had to wrap up so much, but if he has two more books, you can really kind of take all the stories you have, maybe introduce like 1 or 2 more mysteries, but kind of just like wrap it all up in a nice way while also paying tribute to the characters that people like from the books, but you just didn't have a chance to introduce or even would never have a chance to explore on the TV show. So if he does it, it will be interesting.
You know what, though, is George R. R. Martin, I reckon he's going to kill a dragon, not just turn one. He's going to kill another one.
Yeah, right.
At least.
Well, the show might too. But speaking of Game of Thrones news in general, remember I said Westeros Weekly is coming back on Monday?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's some details and some stuff you guys are going to find interesting. I feel like that would have been perfect for a soundboard moment by the by, but it's fine. Ka-chow, indeed. It's going to be hosted by me and Eric this year. Maude is going to come by and do some fun stuff on it. But this is kind of what's important. It's also going to be a podcast. Hopefully it'll be available for you guys to drive home to and ponder about. Westeros Weekly is going to be the name of the entire audio feed for all of our new Rockstars Game of Thrones coverage. This is what I think is going to be exciting for a lot of you guys. So it's going to be Westeros Weekly, the Q&A show on Monday afternoons. But we're also going to do on the podcast the episode breakdowns that Eric is going to do. They're going to show up later in the week. And then also we'll do like some special bonus episodes every once in a while. But that'll also be on the feed. So our Game of Thrones coverage is going to be, this part I feel like we always have to say, we're going to do YouTube videos. It's going to be the same thing. We're not going to do any less YouTube videos. But Westeros Weekly and some other Game of Thrones content is going to appear earlier on the podcast. That's what I think is really interesting for you guys. So we know that you want our Game of Thrones coverage as soon after Sunday night as you can possibly get it. And since we're actually able to finish the audio part a lot faster than the video, we actually are going to be able to get you the breakdown sooner. We've never been able to solve that problem of getting you a breakdown sooner, but we realized we can adjust the writing a little bit and
make
then
everyone close their eyes and just listen.
Exactly. Instead of they can imagine the moon face, and then you guys will just get it sooner on the podcast. So that's a great reason to go and subscribe to the podcast if you just aren't going to be able to wait. Just keep in mind that the content is not going to be the same as the feed that you're getting right now. If you're listening to this podcast, you need to go separately and subscribe to the Westeros Weekly podcast, and that's going to have Westeros Weekly and the breakdowns and anything else we do. So you can go do that right now. The 4 of us are here waiting.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh,
all right.
Rodney, thank you.
Yes. Yeah, Allison. Allison. Yeah.
Well, while we wait for that, let's talk about Zack Snyder for a second, because he spoke on a panel this week and went off on a rant that you've all tweeted to me, defending the choice to have Batman kill people in Batman v Superman and saying that people who didn't believe Batman was a killer were living in an effing dream world. Charming. As a refresher, Batman has killed before in the Tim Burton Batman movies and earlier Batman comics, but he has come to be known and accepted as a character who does not kill people. Then Zack Snyder came along and directed Batman v Superman, which comes out in 2016, and he runs over people with his car and kills a bunch of people in a warehouse.
brands
so?
people with
They shouldn't have been bad people then. And they worked in the way.
Some of
Is
them are
that on
probably
them?
undercover cops.
Some of them just need a good defense attorney.
Well, since this is back in the news this week, we thought we would weigh in. So I think we have 2 questions here. Number 1, do you agree, you, with Zack Snyder, who seems to be saying that if Batman/Bruce Wayne were real, he would kill people? And number 2, do you want to see the version of Batman that kills, or do you prefer the version of Batman that is murder-free? Kicking it off, let's go ahead and dive into it. First, he's a fictional character, so he can do whatever he wants. He can come up with every gadget and doodad and whatnot and magic pressure point that does not kill people. So no, he does not need to murder people. If you want grounded movies about fictional people in latex, I don't know, there's a million of those. You can go get those somewhere else. Watch Sin City. There you go.
The thing about Batman is that his whole shtick is he likes to teach people a lesson. How's he going to teach someone a lesson if he kills them?
That's the greatest lesson of all.
And don't have any gadgets. Like, if you're just going to kill people, just have a gun.
Yeah.
Like, don't worry about the smoke bomb or the grappling hook if
They
you're
should
just going
just have a lot of different guns.
I hear Zack Snyder's argument that, like, yeah, if this guy existed, he probably would. He's a psychopath. They dress up as a bad. He watched his parents die.
He doesn't have superpowers, though.
Yeah, but I think the reason I disagree with Snyder is, like, there is a point to where this is the soul of the character who he doesn't want to kill people, but really for, like, there's a structural reason. It's more enjoyable, the fact that he doesn't kill the rogues gallery, because that creates a system where they go back and forth, round and round and round forever. And if he can just kill people, then yeah, what would stop him just putting a bullet in the head of the Joker and the Penguin?
Yeah, or
and
snapping
Two-Face
his neck in a
immediately?
museum. Yeah.
Right. No,
Right.
the other one. That's,
Yeah, I know.
But, like, it's more fun if he doesn't kill people.
Yeah, well, but I agree with so you had 2 questions there. The first question, would Batman be killing people if he was real? I think absolutely yes, he totally would by accident, right? Like he does.
Batarang was too sharp.
Yeah, I mean, he like throws a batarang at Flash, and you know how many people who weren't Flash he killed when he did that?
Like a lot of Barry Allen's graves.
Exactly. Anybody who was Barry Allen in the phone book is dead now.
But really quick, also, he's not taking into account any health hazards. Like in a most recent run of Daredevil actually punches someone in the back of the head. They have an aneurysm because they had a blood clot, and they die. And there's no mechanism or back computer that could measure someone having a health problem yet. Give it a couple of years. So I agree with you. He would be doing it by accident.
And they had an asthma attack. And he's like, oh God.
Oh my God. Oh no.
or they're injured so bad they can't. They walk with like kind of a limp. I mean, what kind of quality life are we talking in there?
Kaiser Soze. So I think that even though I said that he would totally do it, I do commit to by accident because of what you kind of glossed over for a second. But his thing that was the thing that broke him was watching his parents die in front of him. To him, death is like the worst thing that you can do. If he's the Dark Knight is trying to bring justice to Gotham, then he doesn't consider death justice, right? He thinks that is the ultimate injustice.
But also another flip side could be for him killing people is that he is supposed to strike fear into people's hearts, and he doesn't want to create any more orphans. And so in his head, it's only he's saving all the good boys and girls who might lose their parents from criminals, and not thinking about the children of these criminals that they're killing because they made the decision to be criminals in the first place.
But have you met kids of criminals?
Yeah. How many kids are also? Also, how's the death penalty working out as a deterrent? You know,
we don't have time to solve that.
I'm not even saying whether or not I'm pro or against it, but I just mean like deterrent of like some bad is going to show up and kill me. I'm probably good. It seems random.
But also what I would like, no, it's a fictional character. You can do whatever you want. Grant Morrison, one of the greatest writers in comic book history and one of the best Batman writers, wrote that's just like adults seem to disconnect with the point of these stories that even children understand is that they're fiction. So they're allowed to do whatever they want. They can be anything they want. They could be in other universes, other dimensions, and they can visit any character they want. Superman and Batman can't exist in one place because it is fiction.
So you say don't apply logic to things.
You can apply enough that we can still
Enjoy it.
engage.
Okay.
And
I mean, we do have to hold
story.
back on logic in the first place to enjoy the story in the first.
It's called
at all.
Batman.
There you go.
Wait,
Okay.
Yeah, not Moonface.
What? But we need to move on to another thing.
Yeah, just real quick, before we actually move on, I want to give a quick thank you to Audible for sponsoring this video. Audible has that insane selection of audiobooks, including Game of Thrones. The last season is coming up, but if you haven't read the books yet, it's actually a great way for you to discover a lot more of those details we're talking about in Game of Thrones in the books. I actually personally used Audible to listen to all of the audiobooks myself. They're narrated by this really great British actor, Roy Dotrieve. Reese, and he does way better voices than I do. Almost Erik level voices. But honestly, like some of them are like the definitive version of these characters for me. And in general, the audiobooks are just a great way to learn about anything while you're at the gym or in a waiting room waiting for your child to be born, or cleaning. Just like some of you guys actually right now are listening to this episode, you guys obviously would love Audible. So you can get started with a 30-day trial when you go to audible.com/rockstars. Again, that's audible.com/rockstars, audible.com/. Do you guys know how to spell Rockstars? ROCKSTARS. Great. You can also text the word Rockstars to 500 if you prefer, because kids be texting.
I'm listening to book 10 of the Dresden Files currently.
There you go.
Welcome.
Yeah. I also I did Game of Thrones for Audible, but ever since then, like, you get credits all the time. So I've just, every book I'm ever curious about, I just kind of buy it on Audible, which they give you every month. Yeah, it's great.
It's great. Well, in other news, some other headlines that we saw this week, Game of Thrones will actually air a 2-hour documentary after the finale. It's going to be called Game of Thrones The Last Watch, and it will go behind the scenes for the making of the final season. So that's exciting.
Yay.
And we also learned this week in other Game of Thrones news that the prequel series cast 5 new actors this week. That's one that has Naomi Watts in it. It's taking, we're not sure if that is the story of Valyria, but they're moving ahead in it, so we'll have something else to talk about.
I think that's going to come faster than we think, because anytime they're announcing casting, they're actually not announcing that they are already in production, most likely.
Yeah, what if that documentary is actually just a placeholder for the new series?
Yeah, it'll just come out.
We can dream. Also, we talked about this earlier, but Avengers Endgame runtime is confirmed as 182 minutes. It's 3 hours and 2 minutes. Oof. The longest MCU runtime yet. Also,
the longest movie ever
made. Yeah. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of movie for us to sit through. Use the bathroom before. Don't get big drinks. And other news. This excited me, guys. Werner Herzog.
I knew you would have an impression of Werner Herzog.
Will be playing a villain in Star Wars series, The Mandalorian. He's going to be the bad guy. This guy's awesome. He has my favorite Parks and Rec cameo ever. His voice sounds so villainous.
Yeah, talk about striking fear in my heart. Every time I see him.
In other news, Apple announced a new streaming service called Apple TV Plus. It's going to be featuring a reboot of Spielberg's Amazing Stories series. It's like a
which
Twilight
was great.
Zone
I
type
did
series.
grow up on some of those, and they are almost like Twilight Zone or Black Mirror, but softer and kind of more like
some are more uplifting.
Yeah, a little more San Junipero.
Yeah. And they have a bunch of other scripted and unscripted content. It's going to launch in May, so it's right around the corner. And regarding New Mutants, remember that movie? Remember that?
Nope.
Maisie Williams, Arya Stark, who stars in this movie, said, quote, "Who knows when the F that's going to come out?"
Did she censor herself?
She didn't, but we did here.
Okay, I was surprised you didn't have an Arya impression.
Oh, I don't know.
That's devastating,
I can't do an Arya
actually,
impression.
Yeah.
I'm terrible. I can't do them all. I'm not the man. I'm not Michael Winslow.
Let us know if you're disappointed in Erik in the comments.
They don't need your direction for that. But we have a lightning round moving on. Yes.
Game.
There it is. So do we have our lightning round questions anywhere? They're going to be on prompter. Philip's going to read them at us, and we got to answer
All
quickly
right,
without
so
hesitation.
you guys tweeted these questions. You guys, we're going to have them up on the screen here, and I'm going to fire them at my co-hosts, who are going to answer them as quickly and without hesitation as possible. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yes.
Avengers, assemble. At Zacky Wacky. Okay, so I'm just going to pick who these are for?
Yes.
Okay, sure. Okay. At Maude. At Zacky Wacky 69. What's the nerdiest pickup line?
Just don't do it.
Boom.
Just don't do it?
Don't do them.
Oh, okay. We're still going to. Sam, at KK074, if Deadpool got dusted, would he still come back to life? Because of his powers?
Probably, but it won't be a good time for him.
Oh, that was
Probably.
Just slowly dust
Really?
coming back together. Eric, at Chidi Shovo 14, isn't Captain America just John Cena with a shield?
Yeah.
Wow. That's all it takes. All right. At Ask 4 Seconds, for me, FMK, Thanos, Dr. Evil, or Gregor Clegane.
Ooh,
Dr. Evil? What is that?
You have to climb Clegane like a mountain.
Okay.
Yeah, baby.
I have to marry Dr. Evil because he's got $1 million. I have to kill Thanos because he did everybody wrong, and he's also slightly thicker than me, and I want to be the thickest. And then, you climb Gregor like a mountain. Yeah, I like that. Let's say Sam. At at Not Alexandra, if you could pick one character from any of the Marvel TV shows to join the Avengers, who would it be?
Daredevil.
Okay.
Or Luke Cage.
No, it was one. Now
Daredevil.
they're both dead.
Good.
Daredevil.
You did that.
Eric, at Martin Pitt, how does becoming a wolf make Michael J. Fox better at basketball? How old are our fans this week?
Well, Mr. Pitt, I think
Lightning.
wolves can jump.
Round.
They're more agile and ferocious, and they never give up.
They got those hind legs.
Yeah. He doesn't become a wolf; he becomes a werewolf. So
Alright.
let's
You're
get our
thinking
terms
kangaroos.
right.
All right.
I'm
At
always thinking kangaroos.
Skywalker 27. This one's for Sam Basher. Who would win in a foot race? Fat Barry Allen or just Wilson Fisk?
Ooh, he got a lot of. Ooh,
Wilson Fisk with no adjustment.
Yeah,
in this question.
no, just
Isn't Wilson Fisk's feet that big
big.
in
Yeah,
Spider-Man?
But that's like he can like
Spider-Verse.
stab into the ground. Like,
So maybe
just
I
like a
guess.
T-1000.
I'll
So
go
disproportionate.
Barry Allen, because he's got that quick metabolism, so I think
Yeah,
he'll kind
he'll
of burn
lose
that
that
off
weight.
quick.
Yeah, burn it off.
All right, for me, at Saucy Verdna, Vader versus Jon Snow, no force abilities, and both get lightsabers. Who wins? I think Jon Snow immediately accidentally kills himself when he activates the lightsaber.
What is it? Oh,
This broke. At Ask 4 Seconds, this one's for Voss. If you found out that your friends, let's say they are at Sam Basher, at Fimo, and at Maude Garrett,
And they are.
had the secret identities of a Skrull, a werewolf, and a host from Westworld,
Okay.
who would have what trait?
Okay, so Sam would have a werewolf.
And why?
Because he just
Oh.
called me
He
out
jumps high.
on making the distinction
Werewolf
between wolf and
anatomy.
werewolf a moment ago.
Yeah.
He was very
and he
offended.
knows a lot about
Speaking
werewolf.
from personal experience.
Maude would be a host of Westworld.
No, wrong.
Because your art of
Skrull, because I'm
diplomacy.
Australian and we have Australian accents now.
Oh, that's true.
That's true.
God,
we did learn
it's
that the
giving
natural
away.
accent is, yeah, okay. So that would make Philip a host of Westworld just by process of elimination. And the other two had opinions.
Man, that reminds
Thank
me
you.
of so many social situations where they're like, and Philip's also there. All right, speaking of Philip, for me at Obi-Wan Baloney, in episode 2F09, when Itchy plays Scratchy Skeleton like a xylophone, he strikes the same rib twice in succession, yet he produces two clearly different tones. I mean, what are we to believe? That this is some sort of magic xylophone or something? I appreciate that this whole question is a reference, but it's because the first time he does damage to it and hollows out the rib, and the second time it produces a different tone. At Maude Garrett,
withdraw your
yo.
question.
at Davey Backward or Dab.
Backwards dab.
Backward dab. Backward dab.
David
There's no
Backward
S.
dab.
What would be Sam's nightmare cosplay to dress up as?
What would your nightmare
I don't know,
cosplay?
colourful
You don't really
birds?
have yeah, a flock of colourful birds.
Yeah. Sam, you can
Probably.
say that now, right?
Yeah.
Go for
That's
it.
on the Patreon. You don't get that free.
For those of you on the podcast, what's up? And then let's say for all of us, we'll answer real quick. At Jonesy86, what is the most valuable piece of nerd merch you own? Sam, you start.
Oh,
I have Darth Vader's lightsaber.
I got a Firestorm figurine, and it's real pretty. And it lights up.
A Spider-Man in Avengers Infinity War zip-up onesie unitard.
I have a recreation of Ice, the sword from Game of Thrones.
Did you recreate it?
Yeah, it cost me everything.
And when they melted it down to make two more, you're like, no, I can't afford those. Kill.
Well, now comes the time for a 15-second shout-out where each of us has 15 seconds to shout out, plug, ramble about anything we want.
What's our 15-second shout-out sound effect?
4-second sound effect.
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Another reference to a time gone by.
There you go.
Last time I trusted someone,
All right.
I lost an eye.
There we go.
Someone's having fun.
All right, 15 seconds.
Okay, next week, if you tune in Tuesday to my Twitter account, at Sam Basher, I've been working on a project for the past like 6-ish months, and my brain's been melting, and I really want to show it to you. So on Tuesday, you will know what it is. So please watch it and then subscribe to what it is. Thank you.
Oh, surprises. Friday, April 5th, I'll be joined by these three wonderful people and several other funny nerds in Los Angeles for the April edition of Darkest Timeline Comedy at the Acme Theater in North Hollywood. It's going to be super fun. It's going to be kind of like a weird birthday show, a real vanity project. But ticket info is
Eric's
online.
birthday.
Yeah, my
You
birthday.
didn't mention it's your birthday.
Just everyone's birthday.
Yeah.
Happy
But
birthday.
yeah, we'll see there. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. My shout out, I'm going to do 2. First off, it's quick. I'll just say Pen 15. It's so good. It's my favorite thing ever. 2, shout out to IMDb. Why don't you go on there and see what you can get Erik Voss credited as just on any project. I don't think it needs to be a Marvel project. I think everything you can get Erik Voss credited on. Let us know what it is.
Cannonball Run 2.
Cool. Mine, I've been doing this show for nearly 2 years now, and this is the first time I've ever brought up that I have a Patreon. So I figured I've earned my time, and here we go. Patreon.com/GeekBomb.
Nice.
The Patreon funds that we have is the only reason why Geek Bomb is still up and running. I don't put it in my pocket. I literally put it back into the company and pay my contributors. And I pay my contributors better than a lot of companies in LA. So, I'm supporting good things. Sam Basher and I have a Smodcast coming out, season 2. And until we hit the Patreon goal, which we are 90% for, we'll upload that new season when we hit that. So we're so close. Patreon.com/GeekBomb, please.
Very cool. All right, guys, I think it's time to almost wrap up, but we got to get to that trivia answer to find out who dies today.
Alrighty, so that question, one more time, was early in their career, this MCU star played a minor role in the popular crime drama series, Chips.
All right.
I'm
What do we got?
proud of my answer, but you got Maude over here with Mickey Rourke, and also you drew Mickey Mouse, which I feel like is 2 answers, so she should be disqualified.
Done.
Mickey Mouse was the guest
Someone
member.
put their bitch pants on today, huh?
But they look great.
Thank you, they are too tight.
Ditto.
Philip says Benicio del Toro. the
That's
collector.
my guess. Benicio del Toro. Sam says Lou Ferrigno or Finn Jones.
Finn Jones wasn't born in the early late 70s.
Iron Fist
early
needs
80s.
his love.
Finn Jones has an infant.
100% wasn't
the
born.
show Chips.
He was a baby riding on the back
Yeah.
of one of
We're gonna
the
say Finn
California
Jones is your
highway.
guess.
No.
Oh, Eric reckons it's Samuel L. Jackson.
Is he in the MCU?
Or is a scroll in the MCU?
Who's-
Finn Jones
what's
was
correct?
a closer
Oh
guess.
my God, guys. We're all so wrong.
I mean,
Why?
I
Michelle
have-
Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh, yeah.
Some people describe Finn
Star.
Jones as the Michelle Pfeiffer of the Marvel Netflix shows.
People do say that.
They do. People have said it.
Mickey
Guys,
Rourke starts with an M.
I wanna call out my cuck-like thoughts for a second and realize that we all assumed that the California Highway Patrol could only have men.
I did. I kept saying
but
he the whole time.
We should have remembered that they accept all because the California Highway Patrol is very open-minded.
Also featuring demeaning female characters in the late 70s, probably.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
If it was a
Michelle
small
Pfeiffer.
role in Chips, it probably wasn't a good one.
I was
I don't
thinking
know,
of the
we-
new movie, which was mainly men. So.
Yeah, we just played ourselves, is what I mean. All right, off-screen producer, you want to help figure
Yeah,
it
who-
out?
who is the least
we
wrong?
all suck.
Who's the most like Michelle Pfeiffer? I will say Finn Jones.
I mean, honestly, taking my stuff out of it for a second, Finn Jones. He's got features, man. Like it seems it's pretty.
He wasn't
Yeah,
alive
there's no way Finn
when the
Jones could win
show
this.
was on.
Mickey Rourke having
Fair.
similar hair to Michelle Pfeiffer. Yeah, I guess lately Mickey Rourke does. All right, so that's Maude.
Maude is our
Maude.
winner.
Win.
think that
who
Off-screen
is
producer,
the
who
most
loses?
wrong?
Who's the furthest? Lou Ferrigno or Finn Jones, so, which again, 2 answers. Benicio del Toro or
Samuel L.
between those
Jackson.
or Sam Jackson. They're saying that everyone else was of a similar generation, and Finn Jones is just a dumb answer to put.
You probably would have been more right if you just put
So,
Lou Ferrigno on.
I stand by my answer.
No,
stand
answer
by your
is
Sam.
Ship.
you got to
plural.
stand up and do GIF of shame.
Plural.
All right,
So,
wrongest answer.
Finn Jones heads out there. Go ahead and support me in the comments because this is some BS.
So
Careful,
Finn
we can't
Jones, support us in the
activate
comments.
Finn Jones fans and Vision fans together. They'll both bore each other to death.
I'm attacked. I am attacked.
I feel seen.
And I think this is, again, BS, putting my stamp on it.
All right.
Wait.
Oh, did you get the one I put in there a while back?
Get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
Pick another gift of shame, and the person to your right has to do it. The winner has to
Which
do
I will
it.
say
Well, on
previously
screen, it looks
saved
that.
On
saved
right. No,
Maude.
it's to my right. It goes to you.
My
And
right.
but I get to pick the gift of shame, and I get to give it to you. So you
Yeah.
get to do
person
snakes.
that Sam's right
You
is
hate
Jesus.
snakes. There's one around your wrist and neck. There
Maude
you go.
does hate
And
snakes.
Oh, so
neck.
who does the goodbyes? Maude also has to do the goodbyes.
The Finn Jones fan over here would.
All right, and if you're listening to us on the podcast, check us out on Twitter at New Rockstars to see this GIF of shame in action, as always.
I
But
drew this one. I was like, that's the worst snake I've ever seen. That's because I did it.
get to the gift for shame. And give
we
us the
go.
goodbye since you also won.
I mean, Finn Jones is the real winner here. I could do it.
Thank you for watching or listening to this week's episode of the new Rockstars. I just want to thank me. This is weird. Sam Basher at Sam Basher at
Thank you.
Sam Basher. Erik Voss at EA Voss. I've got dragons on my dress, so I wonder if that helps. And then also we've got Fimo here.
Fimo, but I do want to say that the teleprompter says that my Twitter handle is at Sassy Mama in LA.
From last week's guest, Yolanda Machado.
No, I mean, I wish I had that Twitter handle, but it was taken. So it's at Fimo, but also Sassy Mama.
Reminder that this episode is in audio and video form. You can find us on video at newrockstars.com or youtube.com/newrockstars.
We can't afford that domain.
Yeah, GoDaddy's really running us up the hill on it. And you can find the audio anywhere you get your podcasts. But we'd really love if you use the Himalaya app. You can actually leave comments on the podcast, and it will support the show directly if you do that.
Just took care of the snakes, guys. You're welcome. It's what you do in Australia.
Well
St.
done.
Patrick. And comment, tweet us at New
Show always
Rockstars.
falls apart.
Like this video or podcast, share it around, subscribe to New Rockstars for deep dives and all the stuff you love. See you next week, guys. Bye.